Here we go. All right, we're live here on Facebook with our Cypher family. I'm here with Miss Charla Bell, who has been so kind to join me for an interview this morning.
Good morning.
Hello. Good morning. And people will just kind of jump on here. You guys are welcome to ask some questions too, or just kind of give your thoughts. But we'll just be talking for a little while about Charla's story, what's going on right now. I think we're all interested to hear about how everyone's adapting. But just for a little background for the audience at home, Charla, could you please share a little bit about where you're from, where you grew up, about your family, and where you're at right now?
Wow. Okay. I'm going to keep it brief.
Yes.
So my name is Charla Bell. I am originally from Los Angeles, California. I've actually been in the Bay Area now, exactly half my life, because I moved up here. Yeah, so I've been up in the Bay for about 25 years. So I guess I'm technically now a Bay Area native. I don't know.
Nice. You're hella NorCal.
Yeah, so anyway, I actually moved up here because I got hired with the fire department. So I moved up here to actually work for the fire department. So right now I am married. I have a husband. I have two boys, a 15-year-old and an 8-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure, like a lot of you, we're kind of trying to figure out how to navigate around having our boys at home pretty much, or kids at home pretty much 24/7.
Yes.
Right now, I am not working at the moment, but I will start working again in a week.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really been a good opportunity for me to really get in some really good workouts. I kind of do as I kind of call a hybrid thing. I work with the fabulous Leslie, who is one of the owners of CrossFit Cypher, and I do a couple workouts with her a week. And then, hi Leslie. And then she assigns me a couple workouts on the side that I do by myself, or sometimes I actually may even go on what's called Sugar Wide, which is a CrossFit Cypher site, and I may pick one of their workouts to do. So
awesome. And just reflecting back on where you started, do you remember what you were doing? I actually had to look it up. Like 2016 is when you started with us. What were you doing before that? And then what kind of inspired you to check out Cypher?
So in 2016, I was actually at another facility, another gym, which was a group fitness gym. And, for lack of a better words, I get bored real easily. I like things to really, I kind of thrive on variety and switching things up. I was getting a little bit, stagnant and bored at the other gym. So I just happened to be online, and I don't even know why it came across my timeline, but you guys were having some 6-week challenges back then.
Yes, I remember. The New
Right.
was at that time.
So I decided to come check it out. It sounded like a good thing. I loved it. But this will come further into my story. Also, I actually started with you guys when I was actually dealing with the beginning of an injury.
Right.
So I was doing the best I could, even though I couldn't give it my all out. But it was the kind of workouts that I had been looking for. I loved it.
Yeah.
So that's how I started with you guys. And I know I stayed for a few months after that until I remember you sat down with me once and you kind of were like, you might want to handle your injuries and then come back, which I took note of that. And I,
right. Some rehab, I think, at the time. Right.
Yeah. But I am back with you guys. But that's how I was initially introduced to CrossFit Cypher.
Wonderful. And yeah, so I know your fitness journey hasn't been a fairy tale. You were already going through some real stuff at the time and had to kind of take a step back, some steps forward. Tell me a little bit about, or tell the audience a little bit about overcoming those obstacles and how you decided to do that and how it went.
So, as I mentioned before, I worked for the fire department. I was a firefighter paramedic for 16 years. And while I was working with them was the first time that I realized that I had started having some issues with my bones. It manifested initially with back injuries. So at the advice of many doctors, they suggested that I retired from the fire department just so, I'd have some quality of life left. So, being off, and working out and have, just still trying to stay active. Every
Mm-hmm.
once in a while, I may have like a little flare up, but then it would be okay.
Mm-hmm.
So the 2016 incident is I was having some issues with my back.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, not to bore you guys, it was really kind of like a 3 to 4 year journey before the doctors really figured out that even though I had back injuries or back issues, it was actually the degeneration of my hips, which
Mm-hmm.
was causing the majority of my pain.
Right.
Come to find out, I was bone on both hips. Not any news that anyone wanted to hear. I was not even 50 years old at the time. So I'm like, wow, how is this possible?
Mm-hmm.
But then come to find out I had a condition called hip dysplasia that I was born with that the doctor says sometimes it's not manifest till later in life.
Mm-hmm.
So it took a while for me to make the decision to have the surgery because I was in denial for a while. But the amount of pain that I was in, I was like, I knew I couldn't continue like that. So I decided to have the surgery. I had both hips done. I had them done 6 weeks apart. And then just so funny, it must have been the universe because Leslie reached out to me to see how I was doing.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of told her my story, and she was like, well, hey, when you get on the other side, come back. And I was kind of like, do I really want to come back in that state? Because I knew I was not as great as I wanted to be.
You're vulnerable.
Very vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
She was like, no, we can work with you. And she did. She worked
Mm-hmm.
with me one-on-one.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely got stronger. Had some days that were better than others. Some days that this is not working. Some days I feel good. Leslie would take pictures and video of me so she can show me where I was improving. Because sometimes you don't feel it. When you're in your own body, you don't feel
Mm-hmm.
it. But definitely she pushed me to run a 5K recently because I told her that I wanted to run again because I used to run marathons. She pushed me to run a 5K, which I never thought I'd be able to do.
And how did that feel? I actually remember watching you cross the finish line. How did that feel to accomplish that?
It felt good, but once again, I had to get out of my head because I had to stop saying what I used to be able to do versus where I am now,
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that I was able to do it and the fact that I finished. So sitting here exactly a year later, because I had my first surgery on April 8th of 2019 and my second surgery on May 29th, 2019. And here I am a year later and I feel fantastic. I mean, I would, back then I wouldn't have never thought I'd be where I am right now.
That's beautiful. It's so wonderful to hear that bright spot because it's come with some hardship.
Yeah. And I,
through that process.
I still have pains,
Mm-hmm.
but it's now just learning the new relationship with my body and trying to say, hey, is this a good pain? Is this a bad pain? Is this a pain that you deal with? Is it a pain that you should stop? So we're still trying to, we're still in the honeymoon phase.
Right. And it's a fuzzy process. Like it's not always a clear boundary on like what is good or what is something you should avoid. What do you think has made you like resilient? What about who you are has made you able to like move through this uncertain process of rehab and keeping on trying to build up again? Like you could have just given up. Like I know there's that pressure or that feeling of like, I don't want to even try. Like how did you talk yourself into moving forward and engaging?
Well, I think part of it is just my character. That's just who I've always been. And I remember even when testing for the fire department, how much flack that was like, as a woman, why are you doing that? You can't do that. I've always been one of those people. I've just been in my character. Like I said, even when I was in my worst pain, I don't know, like Leslie even says, you would just drag in here, like just dragging your leg, you'd want to do it. But then also just because I love life, and sitting in the house and not being able to do things, not being able to go on walks with my boys, not being able to play with my boys, not being able, the simple things were not even possible, and I was like, this is no way to live. And then just, like I said, just wanting to you know, the feeling of working out is something like people that don't work out, they just don't know how empowering a good workout feels.
Mm-hmm.
And I just remember sitting and saying, I just want to sweat again. You know, I just want to be able to sweat again.
Yes. That's a wonderful mentality and appreciation for what it means for you, and then to carry it through to the rest of your life, to take care of yourself first. And then that kind of leads nicely to what's going on right now. So how have you managed to take what's happening now and still engage, still drive with it? Was that something you were like right away, like, oh no, I'm just going to keep going? Or was it something you had to work yourself to or talk yourself through?
To a degree, because one of the reasons why which I know a lot of people, as much as I love working out, I'm not really, I need the environment of a gym. You know, like
Right.
that's one reason I've never really had a home gym, because I'll go out there for 5 minutes and be like, forget this. I like the energy of the gym.
Mm-hmm.
So I knew that that was going to be hard, but I think actually having Leslie there for those first few workouts, you know,
Mm-hmm.
there to push you, or just having that accountability, because I know that me as a person too, sometimes I need accountability.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so having that, and then Leslie, like even telling me, you know, saying just stay, make sure, you know, me and her time in the morning is at 8:15. You know,
Mm-hmm.
she's like, try to keep that schedule all the time. Like even if you're not working out with me, make that your workout time.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the first few times by myself were a little difficult, I'm not gonna lie, because once again, I didn't have the energy of the gym.
Yes.
Then I learned, you know, just crank your music up. Once
Mm-hmm.
again, going back to that empowering feeling of finishing, you
Mm-hmm.
know, because the first couple workouts when I started and I didn't finish, I was like, but then once I finished, I was like, I did it. So definitely a mind over matter thing. It wasn't something that when we were first starting this that I thought was going to be possible, but I've kind of gotten in a groove.
That's great. Yeah, you've gotten over the hump. Those first few reps are so important for
Yes.
establishing the routine. Your friend LaRonda says Team Charla on the comments
Ooh,
here, saying what's
I-
up. All right. Well, let's get down to the parenting part. This is what I think a lot of people could use some help and some solidarity with. So kids at home, almost 8 weeks now, 24/7. I put in the thing. It's like the CrossFit Games of parenting. How are you doing? Any survival tips? How are you managing that?
I don't know if people want to follow off of me, but no, actually, it's not. Well, okay, we've had our challenges. Let's put it like that. My oldest is actually, he's 15, so he's pretty self-sufficient. And to be honest, I wouldn't be able to help him with his work anyway, because he's in trigonometry and all, you
Mm-hmm.
know, so he's pretty self-sufficient when it comes to his classes. You know, they have Zoom classes, they have online classes and stuff like that. So, and he's pretty responsible. So we know we can trust him to get his stuff done. So in that aspect with him, it's been really easy. The 8-year-old, on the other hand, is a
Mm.
little bit more challenging. Um, we were talking with, I believe it was Dana and Merle. We had like a little
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
forum, and it just seemed like
breastfeeding.
a common thread with a lot of the mothers were like, the kids are home and they feel like they should be home and not, you know, a lot of times kids don't know how to separate, you know, I'm at home, I want to do home stuff. I don't want to do school stuff.
I'm the same way, honestly. Like, it's been
And that's
hard
kind of
trying to get stuff done. Yeah.
right. And it kind of even goes with the whole gym thing, you know,
Mm-hmm.
separating gym life and home life. You know, you want to separate the two. But anyway, um, the oldest, the youngest, we fought a bit. But we just had to explain to him, sometimes you just, even though he thought the work was stupid, it was too easy, it's taking all the time of the day.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, we had to just kind of finesse him a bit. You know, the teacher said, you're one of the best students, you know, you're getting your work in on time.
Hey, bright
Um,
spots.
and then I'm gonna be honest, we kind of let him stay up a little longer than we normally would, because it gives me, like, he sleep now. Um, it gives me, because my husband works, but it gives me a little bit more time in the morning to have that for myself. You know, because if he was up at 8:15 when I'm working out with Leslie, he'd be opening and closing the garage door. What are you doing? Da, da, da. So just kind of allowing him to stay up a little bit later. It gives me that little morning cushion. And I do try to push them. They do, because they were taking karate, and it's kind of hard because, especially the little one, he was in a lot of activities. He did basketball, he did karate.
Yeah, all that energy.
And then because all those things got canceled too, so trying to find a way to have him burn off some of that excess energy. Just going for walks. They do his karate classes via Zoom. But then also just trying to make, as they say, lemonade out of lemons. Is we just taking the time to actually teach them some home economic stuff that they don't teach in classes anymore. Hey, we're gonna talk about credit. What is credit? Just teaching them things like that, teaching them how to cook a couple meals. They've gotten that done.
Wow.
So just things now that said, okay, we can teach them life skills because they're not getting them in school. So why don't we take advantage to do that?
That's amazing. You really leaned into this and found some opportunities even.
Yeah.
And a little give and take. Okay, you can stay up a little later, but we're able to stay focused here and not just completely fall off the rails.
Exactly.
Yeah, wonderful. And has that gotten easier over the weeks? Is it settled in now, or is it constantly
with the little one? There's still a little. He has his ebbs and flows. One day will be really, really easy, and then the other day he wants to fight it for whatever reason. I don't know. I know last week was really hard for him because he actually, which was a little bit of a scare, because he was having a lot of symptoms of COVID. He was having a temperature, he was vomiting, he had headache, he had sore throat, so we called in and they deemed him that, because, they're not taking just anybody. So they deemed that we can come in and bring him to the urgent care. It ended up being strep throat, but he had gotten behind in a lot of his schoolwork. So last week was really hard trying to get him to catch up. So we fought a lot last week. But like I said, with him, it's kind of ebbs and flows. Okay, I'll do it today. Then the next day, I don't want to do it for what reason. I don't know. He's 8. Trying to figure it out. It's not going to.
Yeah, you don't always have to figure out a reason.
Right.
Well, that's great. That's a bunch of good stuff. I think a lot of parents can benefit from hearing. And yeah, thank you for leading by example there. On the nutrition side, we know the struggle is real for a lot of people right now with that, just because, idle time and just stress. Has it been uniquely challenging for you, or have you pretty much just kept on?
I'm going to be honest. You would think that for me, that I would think that it should be easier because I'm home and I literally got 24-hour control of what my diet could be. And theoretically. And it's just, I would have to say too that I have really good moments and I have moments where I fall, but I think for me is just trying not to beat myself up, and sometimes you just have to honor your emotions. It's like something happened and I was like, oh my God, there's an ice cream. There was a drumstick in the freezer and I went and ate it, but I try to follow the 80-20 rule. If you do good 80% of the time, then you're okay. I know for me, I really do my best when I track, when I use something like the MyFitnessPal or something like that.
Yes, a little awareness.
And I'm gonna be honest, I don't know why I've been so hesitant to do it, so I do kind of get on myself about that a little bit because I'm like, this was the perfect opportunity for you to really dial it in. You're home all day. What is the problem?
Sure.
So, like I said, I try to follow that 80-20 rule. And that's pretty much where I'm at right now with that.
Yeah, and I think I remember Julia last week was saying just practicing patience with yourself, that it's okay if you fall off or you feel like you made a mistake, and just keep doing your best.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
great. Well, that's an awesome real example. Kat says hi too. Carolyn, your friend.
Hey, kitty.
All right. So I struggled with routine at the start. I know it was very disorienting the first week. Do you feel like you've settled into a consistent routine by this point?
Excuse me, I'm eating. Fairly consistent. Fairly consistent. Yeah, like I said, I get my workouts done early. But yeah, pretty consistent at this point.
Mm-hmm. Good, good. And I know we're all looking forward to getting back in the gym soon. What are you looking forward to? What do you miss the most about being in that environment, seeing those people?
Once again, like I said before, it's the camaraderie, just the feel of the gym, um, and the barbell. It's something about a barbell. Like I was doing
Yes.
cleans the other day with the dumbbells, and I was like, it's just not the same.
Yeah.
But yeah, just that. And then like I said, in the CrossFit family, for people who have not done it, it's a little different. The energy is just, it's hard to describe if you haven't. Because I know even sometimes when I'm there and I'm training separate with Leslie, and there may be a class going, and that class may finish their workout, and I'm over there by myself, they'll turn around and start cheering me on,
Oh yeah.
even though I'm not in that workout, or vice versa. If I'm doing something, I'll cheer them on, because trust me, we can relate to each other's pain. Like
Oh
we
my
can relate
goodness.
to each other's pain, So, but yeah, just that. And then once again, just kind of having that separation between home and gym, where you can just let it go. Because even sometimes when I'm here in the garage, I'll maybe lifting something like, oh, those dishes are in the sink, or you just 100% let
Right
it
there.
go when you're at home.
Yeah.
So just
More
having that,
clean boundaries.
yeah, just having that space to clear your head and your mind for an hour or two.
Yes, yes, definitely look forward to having that again, and in a matter of time, we hope.
Hopefully.
Yes, keeping
Hopefully.
our fingers crossed for this month to go well.
Absolutely.
All right, and just thinking about, outside of fitness stuff, what are you doing to keep yourself active and engaged these days? Are there any fun activities or shows, or what's going on when you're just winding down?
It's so funny. I'm not a huge TV person, but my son in the beginning of it got me to watch. I know this sounds embarrassing, but I had never even seen the first. Okay, I'm confused now. Is it the 1 through 3 or the 4 through 6 of the Star Wars? I hadn't seen
Is it
the
the
7.
old? Is it
We
the?
watched we watched the whole thing, but we watched it in the order of we watched the new ones first, and then watched the old ones, because it was the
So
sequels
you
and
watch the prequels first because that's the order of the story.
yes,
Is the more recent ones
yes,
were the prequels, and then that leads into what are actually old movies, the original series. I think
yes,
I know what you're saying. Yeah. Well,
yes.
that's
So
cool. That's like a marathon of shows.
it was a marathon, but I will say this, because 15 years old, they're teenagers. They don't really like to do too much with their parents. He's in his room all day. So when he actually asked me to like watch something with him, I'm like, yeah, that's our bonding time. We watched The Tiger King together.
Mhm.
We started Narcos. So I will say I'm doing a little bit more TV watching than normal, but it's okay, because
Yeah. Again, like feels good. It's good.
feels good. Something that probably when I get back, when the world opens back up, having that time back to be able to do that will not be possible. So I can say I've done it.
There you go.
But yeah, just that. And then, like I said, just actually really liking, because the oldest one too is he loves kind of being in the kitchen. So we've been kind of going like, hey, what do you want to cook this week? Like today, he wants to make an apple pie because he loves apple pie.
Yes, cooking. I've never
So
cooked this much in my life,
yeah,
and I'm actually really loving it.
right,
Mhm.
right. But just having them in there with me, I'm like, okay, this is so just like it's taking this time to do some bonding. You know,
Yes.
yeah.
Well, it's great to see there are still those opportunities and those moments even during these difficult times. And I hope it just makes us all stronger and appreciate one another more. I'm just telling people, you know, I love them more often, and just trying to spread those good vibes, because we know it's tough for a lot of people out there.
Yeah, well, as they say, you don't realize what you had until it's taken away from you sometimes. You know,
Yeah.
so just having those, just the freedom to be able to, like, even one day I was going to run into Staples and my little one was like, can I go with you? And I'm like, come on. But then I was like, no, they're not really liking little people in the stores right now, you know? So, and then they didn't have a mask. So it was just like, you know, no, babe, you got to stay home. But it's like just certain things that you just forget, you know?
Mhm. Yeah. We'll not take each other for granted as much, having gone through these challenges together.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, this has been really wonderful, Charla. I don't have anything, other questions, honestly, but do you have any other thoughts or shout outs you want to share with your friends and Cypher family out there?
I just remember this one saying, and I may get the middle part wrong. I don't know, but like
All
I was
good.
actually just discussing with a girlfriend this morning, just with certain, well, she had a friend of hers, daughter who passed away.
Mm,
Um, and we were just talking about how, you know, that she can't even go over and hug her girlfriend, you know, to like
mm,
comfort her. And then I had kind of brought up, I was like, you know, you want to be a positive person, and you know, you want to say, hey, we're going to make the best out of this, but it's still, you can't make light of your feelings. Like if you get into a
mhm.
stress mode, it's okay. Like it's okay.
Yeah.
Um, but sometimes the unknown can be stressful too. But
Mhm,
the saying went something to the degree of, if you live in the past, you'll be depressed. If you live in the future, you'll be anxious. But if you live in the present, you will, that's the one little, you'll be at peace or something like that. And I
mm,
was like,
mm.
you know, in this situation, I have to keep telling myself, because I'm like, what's going to happen? Where are we going to be? Like, you know, just feels like, you know, but I'm
Right.
like, I can't, yes, it could be stressful, but unfortunately we can't control it. So I just try
Mhm.
to deal with, you know, what's going on today.
That's
And
beautiful. Very wise. We don't got to figure it all out right now. And kind of the beauty is nobody knows exactly, because this is so unprecedented. So just as you say, be present.
right.
It's not easy to do, but yeah, that's great. That's a good practice.
And I think that's about it.
Wonderful, Charlotte. Well, I'm sure this will be very helpful for some people out there. And just thank you so much for sharing your story. It's important to have real life examples, and I think you're a real life example of something amazing. So thank you so much for coming on here and sharing with everyone.
Thank you for choosing me. Hey,
Oh,
oh, and then just let either Alex or Diego know, let me know when they want to go head to head with me, okay?
okay, okay. I'll let them know. We're setting up the matchups
Now
each
you know
week.
that's a joke.
Hey, I still want to take you up on that ice bath challenge. I think you brought up a couple weeks ago.
That's
Shoot me a
true. We could do
video.
that.
I'll step up.
All right.
All right, Miss Charlotte. It's been a
Okay.
pleasure. You have a great
Take
rest
care.
of your day.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.